Does it ever wake you in the middle of the night? The feeling that one day they will pass that foolish law, or one just like it, and come for you and your children?
It does indeed.
What do you do when you wake up to that?
I feel a great swell of pity for the poor soul who comes to that school, looking for trouble.
Spoiler, they come to that school in
the next movie.
and it doesn't go well for everybody.
Yeah.
So I've never seen X-Men, and I am having a really hard time with the fact that this came out in 2000.
It's
really
so
hard
2000
time.
though.
No, I understand, but do you realize that this is almost 25 years old? That you were in high school when this came out? That you
I was
almost middle school?
Yeah, middle school.
Oh, you were in middle school because I had just
grade.
graduated. I had just graduated middle school.
Yeah.
It is scary.
It's a
These people
long
are
time.
full-fledged adults.
Yeah. It is insane, I just did the podcast with Ulrich about all the X-Men movies. We just had Deadpool and Wolverine come out. And so Hugh Jackman, and people have been sharing, it's so funny we watched this because people have been sharing, he did like a shirtless photo for, Deadpool Wolverine, and compared to, when he wakes up in the X-Mansion, he's just running around, and it's like, what happened? It's like, it's steroids, guys. It's okay. It's steroids.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he definitely worked out very hard. You can't just take a steroid and, sit on the couch. You still have to diet and do everything with it. But it's like, people don't look like that naturally.
No, and I don't like him personally. I don't like a man.
He looks great in the cage fighting scene too, where I'm just like, yeah, this is what someone who would just be alive for 200 years and just be strong.
Is that how old he is? Poor guy.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Well, at first, we're covering X-Men today for those of you that just fell out of the rock you were under and don't know what we do. You heard me.
Got it.
From Mars. This is the Beyond the Middle Earth series. We are talking about Sir Ian McKellen's work, and we didn't do a poll this time, but arguably X-Men should have won anyway, so here we are. This is an awesome role for him.
I think we could have argued for X2 or something like that, because I think he's got a little bit more prominent role, but Jess said she hadn't seen the first one, and that's where we want to start, is the first one.
I think you got to, and he's a very good quote-unquote villain in this. It is awesome to see him and Patrick Stewart together. It just makes me kind of wish Pat Stu is in The Lord of the Rings in some way.
Where would you put Pat Stu?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you make him Denethor or something.
I could see Denethor. I could see
Theoden.
You
know what? He could be an Elrond.
He could. I think that's where I was thinking is an Elrond, because he does have that that elvish vibe to him.
Lanky.
I don't know how I'd feel about him in that wig though, because Hugo Weaving's got the what do they call it, a widow's peak. He's got a receding hairline, but he looks, he's got the big old forehead, but it's powerful. You don't notice it because it's just his menacing glare. Especially when Merry and Pippin run in, I'll never forget. Just both of them, he's wow.
He's literally shooting daggers at
he
them.
Really is. And so I wonder what Patrick Stewart would look like in an elvish wig.
God, that's a really excellent point. They did put him in a wig briefly for the screen tries, whatever they call those, before TNG. And they're
really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, they did. And they're well, no.
Yeah, because he's so famously bald.
Well, up to this point, he's not a famous man. Right before TNG, not famous. He's in, maybe in England, he's famous, right? But he's in Dune, and the story goes that he never unpacked his suitcase while doing Dune because he was afraid he was miscast.
He never unpacked that pug either. But
got him.
When did TNG start?
1989.
Okay, he's famous then, because I did not. He did all the Star Trek movies before this, because First
Patrick
Contact.
Stewart?
Yes.
No, those are all from TNG era. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about him being famously bald doing Star Trek. He's famously bald now. I hear you. And I
like
agree.
he's got hair in Star Trek?
What I was trying to say is they put a wig on him before he did Star Trek to screen test.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's bald in Star Trek, though.
Yes. And now that we know him as that, I thought you were saying it could have worked. It's okay. We're on the same page now. I thought you were saying he was famous in 1989.
No. But, like, by 2000, he was famous. Because, like, as someone that... I never watched the show, but oddly enough, I'd seen all the movies. Like, I remember rewatching them.
That was common, actually.
Like, they were...
Or at least for me.
Yeah, but I remember, like, kind of rewatching them, like, in the last, like, few years for, like, studying for movie trivia. And I was like, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that. Like, they'd kind of, like, just escape my memory because, I was, probably 7, 8, like, 8 to 10, 8 to 13, like, watching. And I remember, baby Tom Hardy as Nemesis and stuff like that. But yeah, like, so when he got cast, I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, I didn't really know anybody else. I knew Famke Jensen from GoldenEye because she's Xenia Onatopp.
Who's that? Who are you talking about?
That's Jean Grey.
Oh, okay. I couldn't place her, although I recognize her.
Yeah.
Is it good casting for Jean Grey?
It is this is very well cast. Like, we talked about this with Geeks with Shield, is that they misuse some of the characters. Like, this definitely becomes the Wolverine show.
Well,
like,
to unceremoniously introduce Halle Berry as an iconic character like Storm and make no bones about it, like hardly give her any screen time, is wild to me.
No, yeah, and I remember they like bragged about like having Jubilee in there and like this no screen like it just becomes the Wolverine show, and it is insane to think about because it wasn't even supposed to be Hugh Jackman. It was supposed to be. He's the bad guy in Mission Impossible 2. I can't think of his name right now. And the only reason we have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is because Mission Impossible 2 ran long.
You're kidding me.
Dougray Scott, that's his name. Dougray Scott.
I don't know who that person is.
He's got like the thickest accent. Like, I like him as an actor, but after 25 years of Hugh Jackman, it's impossible to think of him. But I'd love to travel. We said that on Geeks with Shield. Like, I'd love to travel to the alternate dimension.
Do you just want to have a Geeks with Shield episode right now? Or
no, but I mean, we just talked about.
I'm just
okay.
With you.
But it is crazy to think about that. One of the the most iconic comic book castings ever that people are refusing to move on from Hugh Jackman almost didn't happen. And
that
then
is wild.
In one movie, they're like, oh, we should center around this completely unknown actor while you have Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and Famke Jensen, like this murderer's row of just everybody like, oh no, the complete unknown is going to be the star of the next, 20 movies.
And he does win you over immediately. I love, and I know we're here talking about Ian McKellen, and there is a lot to love about his performance in this. You could just tell he's having a blast. And it's so dorky for these two knighted actors to be playing comic book characters. It's kind of fucking wild. But Hugh Jackman is slaying. And if you're Anna Paquin, yeah, you're turned on like by this guy 100% getting the shit kicked out of him. And the first thing I thought when she saw him was like, maybe I could touch him because she might not kill him.
Oh, the only thing I can think about with Anna Paquin is like, where did she find that like Red Riding Hood cloak and hooded thing? Like,
what a bad costume call.
Like,
horrible.
Where did she get that? She's like from a little summer home and like nowhere, like no, but just like in her closet as like a high schooler, she's got like this.
She murdered a homeless person.
She absolutely did. That was I can't believe I never noticed that watching this movie like 100 times. I was like, where the fuck did she get that thing?
And she's got the bad style of the 2000s. This is, it's 2000s when she's got a small scarf tied around her neck, like. Small, long, sparkly scarf.
It's literally like she's running away from home and she picked her running away from home outfit. Like,
but what a terrible one. It's so bad looking on her. It's so bad.
Just like when she catches up to Logan's camper, I was like, where'd she get all that stuff? Like, I'm surprised they didn't give her like a stick with like a handkerchief on the end of it, like she's like walking around.
Yeah, she's the hobo Robin Hood. It was fucking weird.
It is. Getting to Ian McKellen, though, that first interaction that him and Professor Xavier have is just, it's the epitome of what X-Men has been about this whole time. And that, like, one, we start out with Auschwitz, which is like a crazy huge swing for like a comic movie in 2000.
I thought that was going to be Wolverine's origin story because I knew he was older.
That's the thing. It starts out with Magneto's origin, and like it's a big swing to start out with your quote unquote villain of the movie like that, and then going to see him, you know, at the God, seeing that you know Senate meeting or whatever it was. It's like, oh, things just haven't changed in 25 years. It's really great to see.
There is so much really good. What's the word when it's like
allegory?
Allegory. Like anyone that I almost wanted to when I said, I haven't watched these movies, and then it got me thinking about all the people that are watching like Wolverine and stuff. Mutants are an allegory for immigrants, right? Or people of color. Like anyone that is Republican shouldn't be watching these movies because they don't see themselves in it, right?
They really don't. It's borderline impressive if it wasn't so terrible.
Right. The ignorance that that they can't see that people are going, hey, this is you, by the way. This is how you are. And what does Patrick Stewart say at the onset? Whether it's, I think this is the first one. Whether it's a new strain of human or a mutant strain, humanity's never been good about sharing space. It's wild.
It is pretty crazy that there's like 5 intros to this movie. There's Auschwitz, and then there's Patrick Stewart's voiceover, and then there's the Senate meeting, and then there's Rogue's introduction. And so it's just like, it's all these, because like when you introduce to, you know, Storm and Cyclops, they're just standing in a snowstorm, which why the fuck are they there?
It's so weird. I know they kind of wash it away by going, oh, they knew. Like somehow.
They knew to be on a back road in Alaska? Like, what? Why?
They knew that they wanted Wolverine? But again, they get that wrong, which they really want Rogue, you know? So like, yeah, that was like the one gimme they get. Like, okay, sure, they're right there. You know, it didn't make any sense to me. I'm going to just stake my flag in the ground right now, though, and tell you that the most disgusting C-tier villain I've ever seen in my life is Toad. It is the most revolting.
Yeah,
not even like in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Not in like a menacing or, oh, I'm scared of this guy. Why is homie's skin orange? Why is that tongue doing that thing? And like not in an exciting way. There's nothing exciting about that. Not a thing.
Why is there a dove there in their like? How the fuck did that dove or pigeon like just get into their, you know, Mount Doom over there? Like,
and why does he want the feathers? I don't understand. It's upsetting. Like Sabretooth, I can kind of get it. I can kind of vibe with it. I sort of get it. And I love that they made fun of it. Like Sabretooth. His name is... Calm down, Hugh Jackman. Your name is Wolverine. You know, like...
Right, you're wearing dog. I don't know. We don't need to, like, nitpick this movie, CinemaSins it or anything, but there are, like, very funny moments about it. Because, like, they definitely... You know, that's kind of like where the Marvel humor, like, came from. Like, oh, you're Cyclops? Storm? What are you, Wheels? It's like, oh, got him. Comic books are for nerds. We're in leather jumpsuits, baby.
What do you expect us to wear? Yellow spandex? Yes.
And it's so funny because like X-Men 97 just came out, and at the very end, they kind of suit up for the finale. And he's like, oh, what's this? And he's like, oh, what are you expecting? Black leather? Like, Cyclops says that to Wolverine.
Love that.
Like, all the nerds are like, yeah, we got him back, baby. We're here.
Because guess what? Accurate. They look better.
They do. They do look, like, I don't mind, but like when it's so unceremonious of their introduction when they like fight Sabretooth, he runs away, and then you could tell, like, Storm gets Rogue out of the car, And then I don't know if they just used like a body double or something. They should have used maybe like dummy prosthetics weren't at the level they are now. Because like for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, if you watch that, when Nebula's carrying a drunk Peter Quill, that's like a real doll of what's his name? Chris Pratt. And
Really?
There's behind the scenes interviews Chris Pratt being like, we need to destroy this thing. I do not want this on the black market, doing whatever to some crazy fan or something. Because it's like 30 pounds or something, so Karen Gillan could carry it. They obviously couldn't do that because you see the actor like kind of pull on the body like, oh, bodies are heavy when they're just limp. And then when like the explosion happens, you see Storm and her cape just kind of fall over in the snow. And it's like, okay, you guys need to look cooler than this. Like,
there are a couple really cheesy 2000 style like fight sequences, or like the way that like Mystique kicks or like Toad kicks.
Very Matrix.
She moves in a different way. You know what I mean? She just does, which I can kind of buy. But like at one point, you could just see that like Toad's feet are static, and someone just goes, oh, and like moves their head. There's like they definitely have perfected since then how to make the camera move so that you don't see the static shots. I will say, even though this, like you said, it has a precursor to Marvel with that kind of humor or the sassiness, this movie doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, and it's for the better that it doesn't.
It is like as safe as they're playing it with, some of the costumes, some of, the comic book stuff. They are taking big swing, like, rewatching this, I'm like, wow, they really are like just talking about, quote unquote mutant rights. Like, and you can assign literally any marginalized person into being a quote unquote mutant. And so it's a really good allegory. And the fact it sucks that these allegories still hold up 25 years later, but the fact that this movie does still hold up 25 years later, where you can still these like Republican senators that are just shouting like, oh, well, what if this invisible girl walked into a bank vault? What's stopping them from doing that, huh? Like that would happen. That did happen. That just happened in the Olympics with the boxer from Algeria.
What's the story there? I missed the whole story.
This boxer is from Algeria, which for everybody, it's basically illegal to be LGBTQ plus in Algeria. So like, let's just start there, that they would send a trans woman to represent their country. Let's just start there. And it just happens that they have more testosterone. It's just like a condition.
Understood. So she is not trans.
No, she's not. It's a biological woman. Like, she just has more testosterone. And
got it.
Some corrupt Russian, proven to be corrupt, literally banned from the IOC Boxing Federation, deemed that she had like an XY chromosome and banned her from boxing there, even though she boxed in Tokyo at the last Olympics and no one said anything, of course, but now everything's culture war. So there really isn't a story. It just, the boxer from Italy got punched in the face once and was like, nope, I don't want that. And then like made a stink about it afterwards and caused this whole controversy. So boxer from Italy sucks. Everybody, Elon Musk sucks ass, and Logan Paul, you suck ass too. Because like everyone was like, oh, this, and then anyone that got proven wrong was like, Logan Paul literally oops, that's all he tweeted.
Oh,
like,
come on.
Get fucked, dude. Like
while activating your insane toxic fan base, and all you say is oops.
Yeah, so
insane.
It sucks that we are still hearing these same kind of Senate hearings. But I do appreciate that this movie in 2000, like under the guise of, mutant rights, could talk about these things. Because, in the third movie, they talk about a quote unquote mutant cure, which definitely, for dumb Republicans, isn't about, pray the gay away camps or anything like that. Like, no, definitely not. Like, it's so funny that they'll be like, yeah, mutant rights. And then, like, even watching X-Men 97 that just came out this year, Magneto's making these grand speeches, and I'm just like, these comic book bros that are making all these toxic, woke Disney SJW videos are like, oh my god, X-Men 97 so good. I'm like, do you understand what they're fucking saying.
They need to sleep at night. You know what I mean? They must, the gymnastics that they go through in their brain to go, this isn't about me.
Yeah, definitely not.
Is insane. I'm trying to think of a couple other funny, crazy things. You know, who's the actor that plays Cyclops?
Oh, James Marsden.
Okay, I love him. He's great. They do him so dirty by being Cyclops because you forget he's the actor in this. Did you see Jury Duty?
Yes.
And he has to tell the guy, oh yeah, I'm from... He's huge. This guy works a lot. But because he's wearing glasses in all these movies, you don't really remember he's in these movies.
No, and he, like... It's basically been a Cyclops reclamation project that X-Men 97 and like a Capcom vs. Marvel's coming out where it's just like Cyclops is relegated to being like Wolverine's cuck, basically. These 3 movies of like him stealing Jean Grey. When Cyclops is like really cool. Like there's this, I forgot about this scene when he tells Professor X like, don't worry, I'll lead them. And I think that was like for every, comic book nerd like me that was like, yeah, Cyclops does lead the X-Men, by the way, but like they don't show any of that in the movies at all.
He becomes such a loser, and because like I said, since I hadn't seen these, I went ahead and watched the second one because I was enjoying it.
Ooh,
and I really, it's actually kind of hard for me not to talk about both because I watched.
I'm down to talk about both a little bit because especially the second one is where you get like the juicy Ian McKellen stuff too.
You really do, man. And but that being said, like when Ian is being like, he's making some weird faces in this movie, and I love it. Like
I love that he's got like the psychologist ball, and you're just like, well, it's suspended because he's Magneto. It's like, wait, so he's consciously keeping these things going the whole time?
Making that go. Oh, I do have a question though. How does he fly?
There's magnetic waves in the air because of the polar ice caps, and so he's like bouncing off the magnetic waves.
So then when he's in prison in the second movie, why doesn't he just fly through or like shoot himself?
One knows. No,
do you know what I mean? Am I wrong? He could be just like flying.
But how cool was it in the second one that dumb security guard gets injected with iron and he pulls the iron out of his, like, he can just smell it. He's like, there's too much iron in your blood. And everyone's like, oh my God, there is too much iron in his blood. And like, we all just like bought in immediately. And how cool is it that they that's like some Return of the King PG-13 release the prisoners type moment where, oh yeah, we're just going to have this guy get the iron sucked out of his body and then just die.
What a horrible line to say to him after he's dead. Don't trust any woman that is interested in you, especially a beautiful one.
Yes.
I think Magneto's gay in this, by the way, too. Like, he is definitely playing him as a gay man. The only reason I say that is because he is loving Mystique as his personal attendant and plaything, not as a sexual person. He's not sexualizing Mystique. He loves Mystique as like this pretty thing he gets to play with. It's very fun. And they really did like criminally underused Rebecca Romijn in the first one too.
Yeah.
So they gave her a little bit. You have someone suited, completely naked. Your boobs move when you punch somebody.
I noticed that. There's no support bra there. That's just body paint.
It is boobs that are moving, and you've got that body. You have to eat literally nothing. She's not on steroids. And they don't use that body more often. Like, it's insane.
She does have the best fight scene.
She does have great fight scenes. I love how,
like, as she's sliding away, she flips them off because she's a rebel. Oh my God. like I love rewatching these old movies. They're my favorite thing ever. Because, like, as a kid, I was like, it was like 13. I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. Yeah.
It's so true. Okay, so there's a couple problematic things about these movies. One,
only a couple.
Well, no, really, truly, I didn't find much problematic stuff, except for, like,
the director.
Very white. The director is the problem, right? Bryan Singer, we know this. I was dating a guy a while back before Me Too came out, and Bryan Singer tipped that guy $100 on, like, a $10. Yeah, so
tough.
Yes. So I just watched Quiet on the Set. Have you seen that?
I have not. I've
Okay.
seen clips of it. I understand.
It's not for everybody. It is. I found it. Let me preface it this way. I had an opportunity to have an agent when I was a kid, and my father said no because he didn't want us involved in the world because of predators at a young age, and he wasn't wrong. And it was interesting to watch it from the perspective of, oh my God, all these shows that I loved had horrible things going on from the background. Drake Bell was one of the, main abusees by a guy who Bryan something. When the senator comes out of the water and you have your Stan Lee cameo, Drake Bell's abuser is the hot dog stand guy.
Is it really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So that's something.
Birds of a feather right there.
Well,
Good
I
Lord.
think that's kind of it, right? It's like you kind of know who's gonna protect you and who's up. Like they can smell the iron in their blood, for lack of a better. So I was kind of like, ooh, and then I didn't know Bryan Singer directed it, and I saw that in the end. I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah, like I just saw. It's so funny. I sent Jessica the Ian McKellen, Ricky Gervais clip right before this because your phones are always listening to you, and it's so great. Like what I do is Peter Jackson came to me. It's like, be a wizard, and I said, Peter, you know that I am not a wizard.
It's so good. It's so good.
But I saw one about Bryan Singer that on the set of X2, like he wasn't there a lot. He was like basically MIA, like the amazing Nightcrawler presidential assassination scene. Not him. Didn't direct a second of it. And that in costume, all of the X-Men went to his trailer and like tried to have an intervention, and he was like not having it. And that Halle Berry is like, okay, I'm done. You can kiss my black ass. Quote from Alan Cummings' book.
Wow. What were they trying to intervene? He was like an
he was like on drugs.
Well?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. You can kiss my black ass. I'm glad that in the second movie, they do give her a little bit more to do.
They do their best to spread the wealth while still making it like the Wolverine show. I think that's probably the best, like, example of doing that, because in the third one it's all
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Is that when people say that it's like not good too? Like
that's a Brett Ratner movie.
That means nothing to me, Jon Snow. Let's put it this way.
That is the quote.
I think
you don't know much, Jon Snow.
That's something you don't know about Jon Snow, boy. Bub. Oh, is that why he says bub? Because he's so old?
That's why he says bub.
Is that right?
I don't know, but he just says bub.
He does say bub. Anyway, I was actually surprised that they made Wolverine so empathetic, that he did care about this person he's never met before in his life so much that he's gonna like go out on a limb for them. I mean, maybe he's like, you're just like me and you have nowhere to go and no home. But like, I don't know. He kind of belongs to these people right away. And I don't understand that character motivation for him. Anyway, let's see. A couple things I loved is if you want a war, you got it. That's very good. And then
from X2?
No, this is from the first one. I'm just trying to think. Oh, I was so mad at Mystique when she pretended to be Jean in the tent.
Oh, yeah. That was crazy.
It's wild. I knew it was happening, right? Before, like, I got confirmation that it was Mystique, and I was like, you bitch, stop it right now. It's rape. Stop it.
That's wild.
It's wild. Let's see. Oh, Bobby sucks. Hate him. Like, I don't...
Dude, like...
He's a fuckboy whether or not it's Mystique.
Why?
I don't know.
She's such a hater, dude. But
he's like, here's an ice rose. I just met you. You're beautiful.
I would also give Anna Paquin an ice rose if I could. That's called Riz, Jessica.
God, she
You're
had
saying you wouldn't use your mutant power to get laid? You're a liar.
And why isn't Cerebro called Cerebro?
Hope you guys enjoyed the last episode of Podcast of the Rings. What? Did you write that down?
Yes.
Did you write that down? You had to write it down to remember that. Oh my god, I'm broken.
How did Rogue get raised if she couldn't be touched by anyone? Is it that like it didn't happen until her puberty era?
It might have. That's kind of what I had always assumed.
Okay.
Because there's obviously like never been like an incident like this before. Like she's never gone through this before. So I
and
assumed
then she
like
kissed the boy, and then he almost died.
Kiss
or
the
something.
boy. Can't kiss the boy. That's a lesson.
Can't kiss the boy. The other thing I didn't quite believe is that the cops didn't start shooting right away when they show up. When Magneto has like the gun.
I agree. They probably would have just shown up and just fired all the bullets.
The second time they're like, no, nah, 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 and they just would have shot everybody.
Yeah. But what a cool scene though. I always love the guy after like the gun goes off and the bullet's like on his forehead. He's like like it goes on for so because like and they show him doing that and then they cut to like Professor X and you still hear him go it's like shout out to that guy, like not a scream queen, but a grown man right there.
A grown. Yeah, there needs to be like a
groaning guy.
Groaning guy. Oh, gross. I actually am surprised. I think if you do this movie today, would you make Magneto kill them regardless? Is Magneto that kind of guy, or
he does? So spoilers for X-Men 97, because like that's kind of like the main thing where like Magneto's just kind of right a lot of the times, but like in it, like he's not wrong about what they're trying to do with the Senate meetings and stuff like that and the laws they're trying to pass. And you saw like it wasn't some act. I feel like now if they made this movie today, Senator Kelly would be like, I don't know, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. But, you know, my sponsors won't let me do anything else. 100%. But no, in the helicopter, he's like doubling down. He's like, yeah, fuck these guys. like literally witch hunting people. But in 97, he like gets captured. And then when he gets released, the first thing he does is like invert the magnetic poles that knock out the power in the entire world. Because, like, all the X-Men are, like, being rounded up and, like, being hunted. So, like, they're literally about to all die. And because Magneto shuts off all electricity through the magnetic poles, they get saved. But then you have to think about, like, all the pacemakers, all the life support machines, any aircraft that was in the air. Like, so he kills, like, a lot of people by doing this.
Right.
But does save the X-Men. But then, like, the final episode is them going to stop Magneto. And everyone's just like, I don't know, man. You kind of all would have died if it wasn't for Magneto. So it's always a tough thing to do outside comic books to toe that gray line of like how far is too far. And that's why I always recommend Attack on Titan, the anime.
You mean the most Hitler-esque thing you've ever seen?
Never, like, as the kids say, never cook again, random Twitter user. That was the most dog shit take, and this is for nobody but me. That was the most dog shit ass take I think I've ever seen, and the perfect example of how media literacy is stone cold dead nowadays.
Wild. Yeah, you're so right too about I don't know that the senator gives a flying fuck that much about mutants in today's day and age, but he can't get out of it. Like at the end of the second movie when they like shut down the power and freeze everybody to talk to the president doesn't give a flying fuck. The president that's his constituency you know what I mean?
Now it'd be like a Tucker Carlson, like, oh, I fucking, texting like, oh, I hate Trump and all these things. Like, oh, I don't give a shit about mutants. I'm just making money. Like he'd be a grifter. He literally would be like a grifter that we have a million of every day now. But in this, they're like, no, we actually don't like mutants. Like we actually are like very scared.
I think when you get to like Bobby's parents in the second movie who are like, so have you ever thought about being not mutant? Like kind of like a scene about like him coming out, right?
Yeah,
like
basically Bobby coming out. Yeah.
So like, that's where you get the vitriol. You don't really get the real vitriol. There, of course, now are certain politicians that are just white supremacists, absolutely, and people that have come up in this day and age where you do hate maybe migrants because you've been raised by people who hate migrants or whatever. But the majority of those people are just being fueled by super PACs and money. So,
oh yeah, like you saw, like there's like was 4 people, like 4 prominent Republican people that came out and said like, I don't know if I can support Trump anymore, and then everybody turned against them and they had to backtrack what they said because that's where the money is.
Wild.
Yep.
The other thing I will say too is it's really interesting that this is a Marvel, like, it's not an MCU thing, and it's you know how people kind of want mutants in the MCU. I don't know that you can, because you haven't included mutants up into this point in the Marvel universe. The things that they're going through in the universe, they're so powerful, and the turmoil, you almost can't include them at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't know if Disney wants to go down that road because it is a whole different thing. You know, they tried to do it a little bit with like, and it's so funny because like I'm seeing, I was always Team Iron Man in Civil War when it's like, you were really for big government regulation for superheroes that will tell like the U.S. military complex of where to go?
Were
you
people
sure you want to do that?
Were people team that?
Yes, I've seen that, like, Team Iron Man to like it's, oh my God. Speaking of media literacy.
I love Iron Man, and I feel bad for him, and I understand how he went down that road because that one woman told him that he killed her son or whatever. Like, but he's still in the wrong.
He's still wrong.
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying, that they need to be regulated, but being regulated by the U.S. government isn't what they want.
No.
Like, in one line, Steve literally says, like, what if they tell us not to go somewhere where we're needed? What if we don't want to go somewhere and they tell us where to go? Like,
the same exact thing that your father did with nukes, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so weird.
No big deal. But yeah, totally. Because, you know, Bucky killed Tony's parents. He deserves carte blanche with everything he does. Oh my God.
Jesus.
But yeah, dealing with like Sokovia Accords is one thing. Dealing with an entire minority group and their rights and regulations and everything they deserve, that's a whole different thing. It's hard to do. It's hard to make a good script and write a well-functioning comic book movie that, you know, especially now where it's like, oh, well, now you're preaching at me. It's like, no, they're just talking about everything they're going through.
Yeah. I think that's why it works so well, though, these at least first two, because again, I'm going to watch third and, you know, grit my teeth maybe. You've got Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart being just fucking rocking. We do not deserve them as a humanity in general. Are you ready to answer the questions that you've got set up for us?
I am ready.
You know why I'm excited? I think this is going to be one of the most fun to recast.
Oh, I'm very, very excited.
All right. We'll see y'all on the other side. Welcome back to the other half of this podcast, where we are going to answer the questions as pertains to the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship, and compare them to X-Men, thanks to Sir Ian McKellen. Are you ready?
You dug yourself out of that sentence, and I'm really proud of you. Like, I was waiting for you to just break, but that was great.
Thank you.
Like, that is a genuine compliment, because you... Like, you stumbled, and then, like, I'll never forget this. Like, a moment in high school where, like, my mom dropped me off, and my water polo stud was in the office, and I was late to practice, so I had to, like, run to the office and go, and, like, I stepped, like, in a planter, like, you know, like, in a parking lot, like, you know, and I, like, stumbled, and I fell, and I heard, like, kids start to laugh, and then I somehow I tucked and rolled, and got up and started running again. I was like,
no!
What? Like, I swear to God, I'll never do it again. But, like, that was that. You, like, stumbled and then tucked and rolled and, like, got up and kept running.
getting a compliment from you is one of the best things because you don't dole them out, and I know that you mean it. So it's I appreciate your compliments.
I'll send you a video where I think it's like at a county fair, and they're like, there's bleachers, but then I guess you can bring your own chairs to put in front of the whatever concert.
Okay.
And then like they open the gates and like it's first come, first serve. And this guy's got like 2 fold out chairs and he's running and he stumbles and then does a somersault and then puts his chairs down and he's like, did someone get a video of that?
It's like those ones, they're manufactured now, but when someone catches something and then they start to test if
doing
they're
the Spider-Man? Yes,
that's
exactly.
fantastic. Yeah, sometimes you gotta you like roll a natural 20, you know? Sometimes you just do.
That was a nat 20 right there.
Well, no, I think I cobbled together a 20, you know, and then finally got that sentence together and I landed the plane. Thank you for that compliment. And thank you for listening to us. I'll take this opportunity to thank our Patreon subscriber at the $10 tier, Arsenal Roy 2K, because I'm not going to say his full name. It's not going to work out.
So glad that you just get like, after a year of trying. It's just like,
Jesse,
it's okay.
AKA Jesse.
Yeah.
You can also get a shout out too if you join us at the $10 tier, but there's awesome things happening at the $5 tier, including what will soon be our Game of Thrones podcast that we'll start releasing next week.
I am so excited to start that. I can't tell you how genuinely excited I am to rewatch Game of Thrones.
This is it. I'm excited to watch it. You know, I did start some of it. It is so good. We just watched the Blackwater episode, which is insane.
I think that's still my favorite battle because, you know, you hate the Lannisters, but you love Tyrion,
right?
And then you don't want like Sansa to die, or you know, and then you don't really like Stannis Baratheon.
Oh, right, yeah.
But you're like, should he? Because you like, you know, Sir Davos. So you're like, should win?
I love the
but
Hand.
He's got
he's
the
great.
lady in red on his side with like the crazy ghost murder baby, and I'm just like, what? Who am I rooting for right here? It's my favorite battle because you're just like, who am I rooting for here? I really don't know who to root for.
Then the climaxes and Dog, and anyway, or I call him Dog, the Hound. There's so many things that happened in that episode. It's so good, and Cersei's just batshit. So anyway, I never thought it would happen, but here I am. I'm a Game of Thrones fan, and I'm watching it. But for now, I'm also happy. Look at all these things you're introducing me to.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men. What? And I don't, you know,
we need it. I don't, because Jessica produces and edits all these episodes. She does a great job. But I really do want to see. We got to do like 10 minutes next week on what your thoughts on X3. I'm very excited.
We will do that. We will do that. Because who do we do next week? We haven't done Billy Boyd.
We haven't done Billy Boyd.
There was someone else that was like big that we haven't done yet.
We haven't done Christopher Lee, but he's on part of the Fellowship.
No, I don't think we do Christopher Lee then. We're missing somebody though.
So we've done Orlando Bloom. We've done Legolas. We've done Aragorn. We've done Gimli. We've done all the Hobbits except for Billy Boyd.
Kate Blanchett is next week.
She's not part of the Fellowship.
But neither was Arwen.
That's true. So why you say like we're not doing Christopher Lee?
I don't want to do Christopher Lee.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't want to.
The man is literally James Bond.
I don't know. I just feel inclined to not.
Are you disinclined to acquiesce to my request? We can do. I'm down for Kate Blanchett. Absolutely.
Well, I think let's do Kate Blanchett and then go from there because there's some real good Kate Blanchetts out there.
Oh yeah, Kate Blanchett's going to be another tough one to narrow down.
Very tough.
Well, other than Billy Boyd, I think we've done the entire Fellowship.
So then we'll do Kate Blanchett, then we'll do Billy Boyd, and all we're going to do for Billy Boyd, sadly, is watch the episode of Grey's Anatomy. And then we'll be just in time for the Rings of Power debut. And I think we're just going to do, I think we're going to do an episode for each episode. We'll release them one after the other, but we'll do an episode for each episode because they are releasing.
We'll do one each episode, but I do think we should release all 3 in the same week.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm just saying for posterity, they should be out and in order.
I don't want to do like a 3-hour episode of like, oh my gosh, we're still on, minute 40 of episode 2. And
no one wants that either. And if they want to listen to it in a year from now, they don't want to listen to it. They won't understand why it's part. So anyway, let's answer the questions as it pertains to X-Men.
What stands out as the best moment for Sir Ian McKellen in this movie?
Well, we're talking about only the first one.
We could throw an X2 in there. What's his best Magneto moment from these first two movies?
When he takes the iron out of that guy, it's fantastic.
It's pretty great. I do love their first interaction. That's probably like one of my favorite things. Like their first and last interaction's like really great. Mm-hmm. Just because like he's just so regal. And he's like, "We are the future, Charles, not them."
Which also felt like a weird ADR line or something, but it works so well. Like they're squaring off, and they really are perfect foils. But like the way he's like menacingly smiling when he uses the contraption for the first time against Senator Kelly, he's like making some weird mouth faces and stuff. It's really great.
I love when he's talking to Rogue too, when she's like, "Are you gonna kill me?" He's like,
Yes, dear.
And he's like, and I know, your sacrifice will, further our fight and our plight, but I know that's not much, recompense. It's like, that's so, it's like, you know what? He could convince me to die. That's okay.
It's so good. It's so good. He everything he does, he chooses scenery and just enough.
Yeah. Who in the Fellowship would you recast for this actor? It's Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
I'd die to see Christopher Lee as Magneto.
It'd be great.
And it's so crazy because, like, I sent you that Ricky Gervais clip where he does go from, like, "Oh, I'm Sir Ian McKellen. Now I'm Gandalf." Like, his voice change was so good.
Yeah.
So it is crazy to see, like, how warm he can be as Gandalf and then how cold he can be as Magneto. Like, just completely.
Well, I think the thing about Magneto is the delight he takes in making other people suffer. So like,
where he's like, "Where are you going, Senator? No one will have you now." It's so
the
good.
Same. So that might be the best moment. That it's the same dial, just turned in a different direction. Do you know what I mean?
And then ending the scene when Sabretooth lets him go or like can't catch him and just like closes the thing behind him. So great.
Very good. I
also love the fact that obviously the growl was 80 yards, so you just had the actor go like it's like mouth a growl.
That's exactly. Have you seen that bro did with the triangle and
does Peter Jackson direct this movie make it better?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think just for also posterity's sake,
I do think it's 3 hours long, but
it's long, and the first one's good because it's not.
Hour 40, man. We used to be a country, Jessica. But I'm telling you, if you like Deadpool Wolverine, that's great. I enjoyed parts of it. But literally, there's a moment where Deadpool turns to the camera and says, "Don't worry, guys, we're almost done." And it's barely over 2 hours. But you do feel the length of that movie. And so, like, hour 45, baby, get me in, get me out. Like,
yeah. If you can tell the story, do it.
Yeah, and they do. Like, it didn't feel like this was edited down for TV or anything like that.
That's exactly right. Yeah, okay. I think Peter Jackson makes this better. I just do.
Could the main characters of this movie deliver the ring to Mount Doom?
Nah, man, they fucking fumble it somehow.
You think so?
If it's... Jesus.
The X-Men with Magneto.
Here's the thing, and this is just important that you're like understanding how difficult I think it is to take the ring there. It's like the most impossible thing to do. It's impossible.
Who is the ring bearer of the X-Men?
This is a very good question. I think, unfortunately, it's Wolverine.
I think it's Wolverine. I was leaning towards Professor X, but
you're telling me Wheels is gonna get up that mountain?
Hey, we could put some friggin' some lifted tires on that thing. Let's go. We'll give him the comic book accurate chair that like floats.
Oh, that's right. It does float. Yeah, but then he's got to power it up. There's no what's going on?
It's solar powered. Come on. Mordor might be tough though.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there are
This is like the most Republican argument. What do we do if it's cloudy? Where does my power come from?
What about the birds?
That's true.
The Cribane.
The Caribbean from Dunland. I think they do, but I do agree that I think they can get to Mordor easily. I think resisting the ring is another thing, and that's the thing.
I actually think I think opposite. I think Wolverine can resist the ring. I think he can. I really do. But I think he's gonna get distracted by Jean. Cyclops is gonna throw a fucking quip at him.
Yeah. Jean and Cyclops have to go to Rohan. They've got to go to Rohan, and so he's not distracted by the booty.
100%. Put Rogue in the mountain, so that he has to go save her. I'm just saying, you have to really think about how impossible it is to deliver the ring to Mount Doom.
The thing is that Wolverine is closer to Glorfindel or Elrond, because at the beginning of the bad X-Men Origins Wolverine, him and Sabretooth fight through every American war. They fight through the Revolutionary War, they fight in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and then Vietnam is kind of where
Sabretooth?
Yeah, it's his brother.
That's really poorly cast.
They don't show. I don't think that's supposed to be in the movie. It
Does
feels
Sabretooth know?
I don't think it's shown in this franchise. In these first three movies.
I understand. It's not represented that way.
It feels like they kind of know each other because they act like they kind of there's some familiarity there. At least maybe I'm just reading too much into it after seeing all these.
Maybe you know too much because this comes as a shock and not a pleasant one to me. Do you know what I mean?
So I do think that Wolverine can take the ring. I think so. Okay, so who is it? Wolverine and Rogue? I'm in this now. We're in this now.
No, I understand.
So I think Storm. And
Storm can't.
Storm, Jean, and Cyclops are legless.
They gotta go fuck off.
They gotta fuck off. They're going to Rohan. They're fighting Saruman and Isengard and going to Gondor.
And Rogue is useless. Rogue can't carry him because he'll die. Do you know what I mean?
So is it Magneto and Wolverine?
I think so.
Because Magneto can carry Wolverine.
Do you know what I mean? But
that's a great moment too for Ian McKellen. He's like, that glorious metal isn't inside your whole body, is it?
Yeah. Oh, that is a good moment. It's very good. Poor Wolverine, baby. You always make it about you.
By the way, the great that's a practical set. The subway coming apart. That's all hydraulics and everything. I saw the behind the scenes. The things we miss. We used to be a country, Jessica. The FX DV anyone that's our age will know the FX afternoon screenings where they had all the DVD extras hosted by two random jabronis, and they would show you these things for commercial breaks. You're fuck yeah, dude, this rules. I'll watch, this is an hour 45. I'll watch this for 2.5 hours for these commercial breaks and DVD extras.
Longer.
Right? It's great.
Longer. But you had nothing better to do on Friday night.
Not at all.
And it's not the same having to pause while watching it on Amazon and reading it. It's not the same.
No one wants to fucking read, you fucking dorks.
That's how you know we used to be a country.
We used to be a country.
So I don't know. I'm of two minds. I think they would try their darndest. I just don't know if they could get it across the finish line. Not unless Rogue was at the top of Mount Doom.
Okay. Next question. Before we do our recasting, what are some other honorable mentions for this actor's best movie?
I mean, he's great in Cats. He's great as Death in Last Action Hero.
I'm so mad because right as Cats was coming out, it was 2019, right? It's Christmas 2019.
Yeah.
And then by winter 2020, there were already Rowdy Cat screenings.
Which actually pissed me off.
Why?
Because they were trying to make it into this cult thing, and that's not how cult things are formed.
I don't know. I agree with that. I do I agree that you can't force those kind of things.
Yeah.
But I still would have gone to see it because I'm not going to sit there in 2.5 hours of silence listening to Cats.
And here's the thing. If you did go to the movie theater to go see Cats, like I did, and not in one of those rowdy Alamo Drafthouse showings. It wasn't silent.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. So you're like, what? Where did that guy go? I'm telling you, what did Idris Elba just do?
Like, still one of my favorite moments was from Dune 2, where this guy put, like, my second screening, so I didn't mind.
Good. Yeah,
where it's just like, when Paul goes, silence! The guy behind me goes, oh, shit. And then, a moment later when he goes, I will take Princess Arulon from, and then you see Zendaya goes, oh, shit. Guy hadn't said a word for 2.5, 3 hours. And then just back-to-back moments, he couldn't contain it. And I was just like, you know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
That's how Alex was when I was watching X2 last night. And when Mystique was pretending to be Jean. And I was like, bitch, stop, don't. And Alex starts laughing. I was like, what are you talking about? Because I couldn't stop myself. I don't talk to the TV all that much. But I was so angry at her in that moment. I had to let it go.
It's a lot.
All right, you ready to recast this bitch?
Let's freaking recast and couch this bitch.
Oh, God. Jesus.
What?
This is the last episode.
Oh, sorry, Cerebro. You are Professor X. You have no leg to stand on, okay?
Yeah, but I'm smart. And almost get us killed twice.
Yeah, exactly. All right, okay, so Magneto stays, Ian McKellen.
Right.
So do we do Christopher Lee as a Professor X?
Oh, no, Hugo Weaving.
I don't think so. I was feeling Hugo Weaving as well.
Yeah, I think you do Hugo Weaving, because Christopher Lee is just a little... No.
Oh, I was just...
No,
okay.
I'm just doing
You're arguing with yourself right now.
I
No
am.
one's saying anything back here.
I am.
Okay, so Hugo Weaving as Professor X. Who is the Wolverine?
Ooh. I guess Boromir?
I feel like Vigo's got the
you think
crazy.
it's better?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I could see.
I
think Sean Bean is Cyclops.
Is Cyclops. Fantastic.
Is that what you tell yourself at night, Wolverine? Okay, so we've got Logan is Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, Viggo Mortensen.
Yes.
And Cyclops is Sean Bean.
Wow.
Who is Jean Grey? Is that...
It's Arwen.
I think so. I think it's Liv Tyler.
She's just too pretty.
She's got the softness, too, of when he wakes up and, chokes her, I forgot about that part. I was like, oh, he's, gripping that.
Yeah, he's a little too forward with her, though, too. It's like couldn't wait to get me shirtless again.
It's very 2000s, and it's the fact that it's, somewhat working is, okay,
it's
relax.
not, it's complicated, right? It's not a good thing where it's she's actually shown little to no interest in you. You've completely manufactured this interest in her. So I had not watched X-Men.
Bro is delusional.
100. Cerebro is delusional. So I was asked to play Jean Grey in the Hyper RPG X-Men RPG that Cameron Rice was helming, and I didn't know anything about X-Men. So I said, give me 3 things I need to know about Jean Grey. She's Scarlet, the Phoenix, not Scarlet Witch. She's the Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
She's insanely powerful. She, telepathy or whatever. And Wolverine loves her, but she doesn't love him or something.
Yeah.
So the guy that was playing Wolverine was I would do a will they, won't they with him throughout the whole recording. And finally, towards the end, I was like, I love you. And he goes, huh? And I was like, no, Scott's right behind you.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to be like a brother or something.
It might as well have been that. But that's all I had was this information. So I used it. But it's uncomfortable because there's no reason except for the fact that he's attracted to her, that there's interest there.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's literally nothing.
Truly. So I actually may take away Jean Grey because Cate Blanchett is so powerful that if you're thinking about future movies, it might be better because I actually think Liv Tyler is a better Rogue casting.
Rogue, okay. I'm fine with Liv Tyler as Rogue. I just love. I guess you're right. Because I was gonna say like Storm. I was gonna say Cate Blanchett as Storm because like her Galadriel, like as powerful as the sea is basically Storm. But then you're right. This thing like
Miranda Otto, I think goes there.
Phoenix
instead.
Stuff isn't like Phoenix stuff in the comics where she's like powerful and like wielding it. Like maybe you'll see it in X3, but it's not great.
Right.
But yeah, I'm honestly okay with either Miranda Otto.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna do Rogue as Liv Tyler, Cate Blanchett does need to be Jean Grey.
I think that's right.
Because Miranda Otto's not Jean Grey.
No.
That's the thing. Miranda Otto could be Storm. She can't be Jean Grey.
She can't be Jean Grey. I think that's how you break those women up.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. I'm okay with it. Okay, so so that's all the X-Men, right?
Now you have like Toad and Sabretooth.
Toad. I think Toad is Merry and Pippin, and it's two frogs. It's Frog and Toad.
Oh my god.
It's literally
money.
Frog and Toad, and they've got like the little suits on, like from the little children's book too.
I'd pay money for them to do voiceovers for
and
that.
then when the dove, like they like both tongue the dove at the second time, and they're doing like a little tug of war with it. Too far?
No, it's just gross.
Dude, that's what I love about that scene where he does that and then looks at the center like menacingly, and it's not like I feel like in any other movie he'd be like, gosh, and he's just like, ugh.
He literally says, yeah.
It's not like, it's not even like I'm scared moment. It's like, oh my god, that was fucking gross, dude. What the fuck?
It's like a pitch perfect, yeah.
It's really good. Rebecca Romijn. True. Oh, but who's Mystique?
I think, oh god, there's not another woman, so I don't know, bro. I think it's Cate Blanchett still.
There's not enough women. Oh, it's
the little girl.
Lost. It's Lost. What's her name? Evangeline Lilly.
Oh, okay, she could do that. She could be Mystique. You could see.
We
those
saw
boobs.
her in Lost. We could see. Wait, how? Yeah. Okay.
Your cologne. Did you take a quick shower?
Oh, I might as well. I'm going to go down to the pool after this and read some more Dune. It's getting better. I think I was too harsh.
It's okay. It's a tough read.
It is literally like Lord of the Rings and the movies, where it's like the movies are such a good adaptation, but they're for general audiences. Everyone knows what's happening, and it's quick and it's going. You read the Lord of the Rings books, and you're like, wow, they're still in the fucking Shire.
That's right. That's right. So, and I try to preface too that Frank Herbert is the grandfather of this genre, and other people did it better and quicker and with more refinement. He established it, and he goes into everything, and you either love it or you don't, and you just have to be patient with it because it's very rewarding if you are.
All right, so Sabretooth.
Sean Astin.
I like it. Sean Astin.
So weird because it's like campy, but right? Like, but it doesn't
actually
work.
You know what? I think Sean Astin is Senator Kelly.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I am just forever. I've seen Encino Man as a kid, but seeing him be a little fucking weasel jerkhead ass
it's
bitch
changed
boy,
you. It's changed
it has
you.
changed me. I love Sean Astin to death.
I'm sorry
sure if
this
I ever met
happened.
him, I will give him like the biggest hug, and I'm sure he's got the biggest, warmest hugs. But he is Senator Kelly.
Yeah, he'd do a great job.
Yeah.
Again, it's the same dial. It's just the other direction.
So I want to see Elijah Wood as Sabretooth.
It's horrible casting. I hope you know that.
I just want to see
casting.
I will see with his eye. It's just like, arr,
I know, but it's bad casting. But
terrible casting.
But there's nothing left for him.
There's nothing left.
That's very good.
We could swap them if you want to do Sean Astin as Sabretooth. I think Elijah Wood would be a good Senator Kelly too.
But the problem is we're also casting them at their ages here. You know, like it's not like
that'd be good. Like he's like a little wonderkind. Like he's like, oh, I'm already a senator.
That makes him a better Toad then, because then you have Billy Boyd and Dominic Moynihan.
It right there. That's it. Dominic Moynihan and Billy Boyd are Senator Kelly. They're definitely gay, but they're in the closet. Like, you know, what was it like? Grindr basically got overloaded at the RNC.
Are you?
Swear to God, Grindr like borderline shut down because they were so busy at the RNC. swear to God, this is not me trolling. Look it up. And so, okay, that's what we're doing. Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan are closeted gay Senator Kelly, who just like projecting themselves on the mutant rights, and we gotta register them and all these things. Sean Astin is Sabretooth. Elijah Wood is Toad.
Wow.
Just broke
Fucking
it.
book it.
Book it. Recast it.
Print it. Laminate it. Jesus Christ. All right. So we did it. I'm very excited. I'm just selfishly excited to do Cate Blanchett. I think, unfortunately, you have to put Benjamin Button on there.
Oscar.
I think Oscar?
There's Benjamin. Like, I think she won an Oscar for it, or she was nominated for it.
Yeah, I think you do that. I think you do The Aquatic Life of Steve Zissou, because she's very good in that.
I see a big blue boy.
You do?
I do.
Wow. You're
he always pokes his head out at the very end.
You got cat radar. He knows I'm almost done. Say, I'm doing really well on the new food that I've got to eat.
Oh, Penguin got up. I was going to grab her as well. He's a big sleepy guy.
Yeah, he really is.
Okay, so I think Carol's got to be up there. Like, Carol's up there.
Is that the one where she's the I don't know what Carol is.
I think she won an Oscar for it.
Is that the one where she's the composer, the maestro or something?
No, that's
she has
Tar.
She couldn't hear, like she had the sensitivity to sound, right?
Carol, let me read. I haven't seen Carol. An aspiring photographer develops an intimate relationship with an older woman in 1950s New York.
Oh,
it's
interesting.
Her and I believe, Rooney Mara.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting.
Because the other thing I was going to suggest is she's great.
You could go to the theater and watch Borderlands. I hear it's fucking awful.
What a whiff. What a whiff.
I hope, it's like the famous Michael Caine quote about, he didn't receive his Oscar because he was filming Jaws: The Revenge. And he was like, I've never seen the movie, but I love the house that it paid for. And it's like, I hope that's Cate Blanchett with Borderlands.
I mean, she already got the paycheck, right? So
for sure. There's Nightmare Alley.
There's Don't Look Up.
There's Tar. There's Don't Look Up. There's Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, you have to put that one.
I think Thor Ragnarok goes on there.
I think Benjamin Button goes on there.
I think so. That's 2. We got Blue Jasmine. This woman just works. She was Marion in Ridley Scott's Robin Hood, which isn't great, but has a soft spot in my heart. She's the main bad guy in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Elizabeth, the Golden Age. She is in Hot Fuzz, one of my favorite roles of hers. The Aviator. I think she was nominated for The Aviator as well.
Wow, this is a tough. Maybe we need to do multiple polls and do a bracket.
Gotta do a bracket. Okay, so all right. So let's decide. So where's my phone?
No, we have to do this right now.
Yes. No.
Okay.
We don't.
Well, last time we didn't do it, and then we forgot to do the poll. Just saying.
Well, I mean, we could do it after we stop recording, but we don't have to do it on the recording.
All right. Okay, Cerebro. We'd like to thank you for listening to us and watching us on YouTube, if that's how you do it, or finding us on your favorite preferred podcast player. Just so you know, Google Podcasts is going bye-bye. I don't know anyone that uses that platform anyway.
Didn't know it existed.
Exactly. There's so many different ways you can get in contact with us. We are so close to getting 10 Patreon subscribers and then having to watch the Lord of the G-Strings.
Lord of the G-Strings, yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't?
And then we will do a Patreon-only review of that fantastic film, of which I'm sure is fantastic. You also can get in now at the $5 tier. Listen to every episode that we've done covering House of the Dragon.
Both seasons.
Right. And join us for the Game of Thrones Podcast of Thrones. I think that's what we decided.
Podcast of Thrones, yeah.
Podcast of Thrones, which we will be starting next week. We're taking a little respite and then joining. Then we'll be doing that. We'll let you know which day those drop. But again, that's Patreon only. And if they're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on their preferred player, what should they be doing, Ben?
Leave us a comment. Give us a like. That's nice and easy. 1 solid thumbs up on YouTube. 5 stars on iTunes or whatever podcast platform you're listening to us always helps. And if you feel like leaving a comment on YouTube, let us know what Cate Blanchett movie, because we might do a little 8 a little team bracket right there. Might do some head-to-head polls on Twitter, so look out for those on YouTube and on Twitter. But yeah, so many ways to reach us, guys.
I enjoy doing this with you, Ben, and I'm excited as we get closer to Rings of Power. And until we meet again.
Mayor Paz, meet again.
I couldn't think of an excellent thing to say.